One small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
This is actually about my daughter. When she was young, she was horrible at every sport. I mean, horrible. When she was in middle school, we had neighbors. We lived in North Carolina at the time that moved from New York. Their son played college lacrosse, and the dad was going to be the middle school lacrosse coach. He kept encouraging her, just come out, I'll teach you what to do, I'll give you a stick, you have nothing to lose. She played for him for 2 years, learned the game, was so-so. We moved to South Carolina, where I know she still has the school records for goals and ground balls, and I'm pretty sure she still has the state record for her 4-year career. She played 4 years of college lacrosse, played for a team repping the United States abroad in Europe. While getting her master's, became a graduate assistant coach at a school in Pennsylvania. When she graduated with her master's, moved to Georgia, where she became an adjunct professor and an assistant lacrosse coach. And at 25, just now accepted a head coaching position at a school back where she started it all in North Carolina. So thank you, Jim McCormick, for putting that stick in her hand.
I went easy on someone in a game of Halo 3. Everyone on the other team had just been disconnected except for one person. So I turned on voice chat, talked to the people I've been randomly matched up with and say, hey, this doesn't seem fair. You want to even it up? Let's just use like punches and grenades. And they said, sure. And we had a great time. And that led to us hanging out more. So I started making game modes and maps. And that helped me build a portfolio, which then got me a job into a game studio, which led to me working on Chariot. Working on that helped get me to PAX to show it off as an exhibitor. It was my first time at a big convention. I met like a whole bunch of cool people, including the first trans woman I'd ever met in person. And I went, oh, had a great big revelation, broke down sobbing. 6 months later, I came out, and that led to me becoming the person I am today. And now I write cute queer books about witches and catgirls.
Okay, so in 2018, one of my friends from college was getting married and she invited me to her wedding, but I was really nervous to go because I was very single at the time and I didn't have a date, and I knew if I went to the wedding, it was very likely that I would only know the bride and groom. So she was marrying an Australian man, and my thought was, worst case scenario is I meet a cute Australian guy. So here we are at the wedding. He was one of the groomsmen, and I was totally smitten immediately. He then decided to extend his trip, and we went on a date to Disney World. Hopelessly fell in love, so packed my bags and made my way to Australia for the first time. Since then, Sydney has become my permanent address, and we got engaged in April. So literally going to that one wedding changed my entire life.
So when I was 16 years old, my ex-boyfriend had just cheated on me, and I was really sad sitting in my room. So I just decided on this particular day to go outside. Like, I don't ever want to go outside, but I was just like, fuck it, let's go outside. I go outside. I stood in the heat for like 3 to 4 hours. I don't know why. I don't know what possessed me to stand in the heat that long, but I did. I'm walk past the basketball court. This boy says to me, "You're really cute." I said, "Thank you." He's not my boyfriend of 7 years and could potentially be, I got racist, y'all, so don't mind me, but and could potentially be my husband. The point of this video is go outside, and if one man won't do it, the next man will. I'm trying to tell you, do not sit on that couch and be sad. Go outside. I promise you can meet your future husband today. Go.
A good one for this. Doing a random act of kindness and buying a stranger a ticket to enter an art gallery. I went to the Norton Art Gallery in Florida, and behind me in line was this young guy who was really cute. I found out that tickets were only going to be $5 when I originally thought that they were $10. So I told the lady that was selling the tickets I wanted 2. One for me and one for my friend behind me. The lady at the desk thought it was really nice that I was buying him a ticket, and she even said so. But I was like, no, it's cool. He's going to buy me dinner later. Well, we walked away from the desk. I gave him the ticket and I said, hey, I was just kidding. I just wanted to do a random act of kindness. And this handsome man turned to me and said, I don't know about buying you dinner later, but I am a professional chef and I would love to make you dinner sometime. What? 7 years later, we're married with 2 kids.
Woo, this one is for me. Okay, long story short, because I'm Southern, I learned that I inherited a piece of paper from my grandfather, who was a Korean Vietnam War veteran. We had a sauce that he was passionate about. He concocted it in 1956. We ate it, didn't think anything of it. He unfortunately passed away. But while I also was serving on active duty, I learned that I had inherited the only copy of it. Now, I could have shelved it. You know, we have grandma's, grandpa's recipes everywhere, right? Somewhere in a cupboard. I decided to seek help, figure out how I could share it with a couple friends and family, and even you. And now we have a whole entire company, entire line of products. We've been in Forbes, we've been on Shark Tank, we've been on TV. A lot of times my imposter syndrome is raging because I'm like, this country girl, how?
All right, I got a really good one for this. So it's about 2 years ago, my mother's friends buy me a concert ticket to go see Chris Jansen live in South Dakota, where I'm from. The day of the concert rolls around, like, I just did not want to go. The last thing I wanted to do was go to a country concert, but whatever, they talked me into going. So like 20 minutes before the show, I haul ass, I get ready, I go there. We end up being front row. So we're just talking with the people around us casually, you know, and then the band comes out, and I happen to be directly in front of the bass player. And when I tell you guys that this is the most gorgeous man I have ever seen in my entire life, like tattoos, beautiful body, like just gorgeous man. And one of the girls in the crowd knew his Instagram handle, which is weird because his Instagram handle has nothing to do with his real name. So I have no idea how she found it, but whatever, that's besides the point. So I decided to shoot my shot that night, and here we are, fast forward 2 years later. I have been living in Nashville now for 1.5 years with him, and we are madly in love, and I have 2 beautiful cats. And
in 2017, I decided to go visit my best friend who lives in Sweden, and we were going to do a summer road trip from Sweden all the way down to Greece. Last minute, her brother decided to join us on the road trip, and during that road trip, him and I fell in love. We did a long-distance relationship for about 1 year, and then I decided to uproot my entire life from Los Angeles, California, and move to Sweden. Now, there were some bumps along the way with moving to Sweden, so I did wind up moving back to New Jersey, and we continued a long-distance relationship up until now. But I've officially gotten my Swedish residence permit, and I am going to join him in Sweden. So to think that I wound up living in Sweden and meeting the love of my life all because I decided to go on a summer road trip. Moral of the story, if you're thinking about going on vacation, do it. You might meet the love of your life.
I went at this. Watching the 10-year High School Musical reunion special on Disney Channel when I was 16 literally saved my life. I remember it so clearly. It was a late game on a Wednesday night. It was 2 days after a snowstorm. It was dark out. Me and my brother were walking out the door to go to our school's basketball game. For a theme, a big game, covered in stuff already, decorated, face paint, whatever. My mom yelled back, "Oh my God, the High School Musical reunion just came on. Didn't you want to watch this? I'll record it. Go to your game." And I was like, "No, I feel like I should watch it right now." My mom's like, No, I can record it. Go to your game. Have face paint on." My brother's like, "Really? You're gonna, like, we're outside. We're in the driveway. You're gonna go back inside?" And I was like, "I feel like I need to watch it right now. Like, I don't know why, but I need to." My brother went to the game. He got in a car accident on the way there. He flipped his car. The passenger side hit a tree, completely smashing the passenger side, like not an inch of room. My brother was fine. He crawled out the back, not a scratch on him. I would have been dead.
I desperately wanted to take American Sign Language as my world language in college, but it was known that only athletes and seniors got in it. Somehow I ended up becoming friends with this softball player who I met through a mutual friend. I have no idea who she is today, but she signed up for the American Sign Language class, held it for me. She dropped it. I signed up. 2 years later, I have a epiphany, like I was punched in the face, that I needed to become a sign language interpreter. So I graduated with my degree in education and went right back to school to become a sign language interpreter. 10 years later, I'm fluent and still using the language as a career. But more than that, I have a 5-year-old son who has a genetic disorder, who is nonverbal and needs sign language to communicate. And I'm able to provide him with language. All thanks to that softball player who I have no idea who she is.
Okay, at the start of Jan 2020, I had no job. I had to move back home. And at 33, I was like, this is not where I thought my life should be. I was feeling super low. In jobs, I was always the assistant. I didn't have any body confidence or confidence in myself. And my Aussie friend invited me over for a holiday, just 1 month in Australia, just to reset myself. But at the end of the month, I was just like, I want to stay in Australia. I feel like I need to stay. So I called my airline. I'm like, can I change my ticket the day I was meant to fly? They were like, yeah, no charge. I was like, great. And then COVID lockdown happens the next day. Then in COVID, I make a few TikToks. They do well. And he gets me a job interview as a videographer. I go for the interview on the Thursday. This is end of July. I get the job that day. I managed to get a car on the Friday, and I moved to the Sunshine Coast where I'd never been before on the Monday. Honestly, I never thought I was pretty enough to be in front of the camera. I always thought I was too big, and I had no confidence. And now 2 years later, I'm my own boss. I'm a full-time content creator, and I love myself. And you guys. All because I changed my ticket.